Hi everyone, I'm Kirsten from the Mass Realty Communications team, and today I'm here to talk with Ginger Webb, who is the Publicity Director at the Arlington Friends of the Drama. The AFD Theater has a long and really incredible history of bringing the passion of arts to Arlington and area, and I'm really excited to hear all about it. So Ginger, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you just tell me a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself for everyone?
Sure. My name is Ginger Webb, as you said. I'm the Publicity Director for Arlington Friends of the Drama. And I first got involved with Arlington Friends about 20 years ago. My husband and I just moved to Arlington and, sort of exploring the town. And I found this incredible theater. A friend of mine had told me about it. She had a friend who was involved. And I came down to see some of the shows and I was amazed at the quality of them. And someone said, would you like to usher? And next thing I knew, I was a production manager. I've been involved backstage ever since. I've pretty much done everything at the theater except be on the stage. So,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Oh, that's great. That's such a good story, especially for, people maybe watching this video thinking about moving to different places or moving to Arlington. That, the community seems very welcoming as well.
It is. It's a very welcoming community. So,
Okay,
yeah, there's
so
that.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you've been here for 20 years. Can you tell me a little bit about the history of the theater itself?
Absolutely. Yeah, Arlington Friends of the Drama was founded back in 1923. So we are coming up on our centennial year. This is considering this our centennial season, the 22-23 season. Mm-hmm. And we were founded by a group of women who wanted to start a community theater. Community theater was kind of a new thing back in the 1920s. Right. Until that time, most theater was done by professionals or by, little groups would put on a pantomime at their church play or something like that. But the idea of community theater was a relatively new thing. And we are one of the oldest community theaters in the entire country. Wow. And so, like I said, 1923, this group of women started it. They performed all their first shows for the first 10 years over at Town Hall. Okay. And then in 1933, this little Episcopal church was outgrowing its space and they were moving down the street and they put their building up for sale. And we outbid the Oddfellows and bought the building. And we've been performing in that space ever since. So it's a nice little historical gem. It's in the historical district of Arlington. And the theater building itself was built in 1876. So it goes way back, even before we had electric lights in the city. We had this church building. And like I said, since 1933, we've had this as a theater. And so it's during World War II, I think we had a decrease in the season. We had fewer men around. More women were in the plays. But we've bounced back and we survived COVID, which was remarkable. We went on and made offerings online, but we never completely closed down. So we're coming back now with a full season. So we're very excited to be up and going and having survived. And yeah, so it's going strong still 100 years later.
Right. Yeah, that's an incredible history. I don't think a lot of places can say they've been around for 100 years. And I think that's really special. Places that are started by women, especially back in that time, and carrying on that tradition through. Yeah. Through lots of different difficult periods that we've been through now, right?
Right, yes. The first president was actually Kelowna Dahlin, who was the wife of Cyrus Dahlin, who's our local, sort of a local sculptor, who's well known in Arlington, if you're from Arlington. So, it's kind of like it's got that also historical tie to the arts in terms of her being, she was really into drama and pageants. She had put on a few historical pageants in Arlington. And then her husband, of course, was a big supporter of the arts since he was a sculptor.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And today
go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
I was just saying today we also live across the street from the Arlington Center for the Arts. So we have that nice little connection. They've moved into the building across the street from us. So we have this very nice little artsy section right behind Town Hall.
Right. That's so awesome. So yeah, fast forward 100 years from the start. And what are some of the things you guys offer today then?
Okay, so now we are doing a full 4-show season.
Okay.
And we just finished our first show, which was Iolanthe. It was a Gilbert and Sullivan operetta, and that was just so much fun. And we just had a lot of new people who know Gilbert and Sullivan and who liked that, who came into our theater for the first time, and then plus, all the older people who've been coming for our shows for a while. And so it was nice to bring in some new and old, both in terms of the cast, because sometimes the people who are singers are not necessarily as much actors, and the actors don't. A lot of actors don't sing, so you get a different group of people both in the on stage and in the audience. So that was just tremendous fun. And then we have 3 more shows coming up. We're doing Light Up the Sky, which is a comedy by Moss Hart, who's a big name in theater back. Some people might be old enough to remember that name. And that's a comedy about a play being put on. It's kind of like a send-up, and both a send-up and a Valentine to theater.
Okay.
And then the next show is Dancing at Lunasa, which is an Irish show by Brian Friel. It's an Irish memory play that takes place in the 1930s. And then we're finishing the season with Nonsense, which is a musical comedy. So those should be a lot of fun too. Because this is our centennial season, what we did is we took a look back at all the shows we had put in over the last 100 years, and we decided to choose one show that represents or was done during each 25 years of the church of the theater's history. And so we did a lot of Gilbert Sullivan apparently right back at the beginning, and Iolanthe was one of the ones we did 3 times. So that's why we chose that one. It's not one of the better known Gilbert and Sullivan shows, but it was fun. It was great fun. And then Light Up the Sky was done in the next 25 years. And then Nonsense. And then, so each one of those shows represents one of the most popular shows during the 25 years of the theater's history. So we're sort of celebrating our history by bringing back a lot of our best shows.
Right. That's a pretty cool way to bring history back to life and connect the modern with the old.
Really. Yeah.
So in your opinion then, I mean, there's now, there wasn't a lot of community theaters back then, but now there's quite a few. So what's special about the AFD theater to you that has been there for 20 years?
I mean, I think, and this is probably true of all theaters, but I think particularly Arlington Friends of the Drama, there's just such a tremendous love of theater. I mean, community theater means it's all volunteer, and nobody's getting paid for any of it. And yet there's just something really special about bringing all these people together. Like I said, we do have the history of having been around for a very long time. What's one of the things that is special is that we do have our own building, which not every theater does have. Some places are, building their set off stage somewhere else and having to bring it in and, share rehearsal space. And we really have our own theater, which is just a blessing because the actors get to be on the stage, learning their lines in the spots that they're going to do it. We try to get the set built as quickly as possible, but they get to see it evolve around them as they're rehearsing. And so that's pretty special. We have nice facilities. We did some renovations back just before I arrived, probably 25 to 30 years ago, which expanded the backstage areas, to make it much nicer for the cast to be in. So I think that's one of the things that makes it special. I mean, and one of the things that I first learned when I first came there, and I was, being a production manager for the first time, which is a bigger job than I realized. I probably wouldn't have done it if I knew what I was getting into, but so many people were helping me. And just mentoring me, learning everything I needed to learn every step of the way. And one of the things they said to me is, Ginger, no one will ever let the show fail. If you have some, there's always some backstage drama. So, your costume designer drops out or, something happens. There's always something goes wrong with every show. And, there's always someone who's going to step forward and make sure that this is success. It's the show will go on, the show, and they say that old, thing about there's no business like show business and no people like show people. It's absolutely true. It's just their people are so special. They do everything, and just everyone wants the shows to succeed because everybody who's there loves theater.
That's great. Love
yeah.
Thank you. That's perfect answer. I love it so much. So if people want to get involved with the theater, what are some of the ways that they can do that?
Well, there's 3 basic ways. One of them is you can just come see the shows.
Right.
People can buy individual tickets. They can buy a season subscription, which gives them a deal, to see all 4 shows at a reduced rate. And then you can come to auditions and become an actor on the stage. The auditions are, we're actually just about to audition our 3rd show.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, we always post those and people can get on our audition list so they get emails about all the auditions that come up. And then you can do just pretty much anything backstage. And I think that's the most fun part. I think I would be too nervous to be on stage, even if I could act. But, backstage, we are willing to work with volunteers to teach them pretty much anything. I mean, I first learned how to use a screw gun and a power saw and, all kinds of things. I had no idea how to build things, but, I would just show up on set building night. And usually I was just, okay, hold this while I do that, and, stand here, but then after time, I got to, do painting and I got to do, the light construction work. I still don't know what I'm doing, but as long as someone tells me what to do, I can just do it. Right. And, but yeah, we teach skills. And I just remember when I came, I just had the best group of people who would just show me anything, that I needed to learn to help do the tasks for the night. So set building is one area that people can do. They're just open-ended nights where people can just drop in on Tuesday and Wednesday evenings and Saturday mornings and just help build the set. And then there's pretty much any other thing. We have volunteers who are doing the lighting and the sound and the costume design and the hair and the makeup. And anyone wants to learn those skills, they're always happy to mentor someone. And we've got someone right now for our next show who's never done costume design before, but we have this very, very experienced professional, someone who used to be a professional costume designer who's coming in and mentoring her through the whole process from how do you measure somebody to how do you, go through and figure out what designs are, what costumes are appropriate for the time period. And everything that she's going to need to know, she's being taught. And it's just so exciting to see, these bringing younger people into the fold, so to speak, and teaching them. And, our first show, we had someone who had never been a stage manager before. So she was doing it for the first time. And we have people who are assistant stage managing for the first time, because that's a nice way to get involved. And sometimes people just come in and we just need someone to help. One of the first things I did backstage was just be a dresser, someone who helps someone with a quick costume change. And, they just said, stand here. She's going to run off there and you're going to do this and this and get her back on stage. And so, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I got her back on stage. So, it just turned out to be a lot of fun being backstage. Let's see what else. We need people who help sell the tickets, who put up flyers around town. We need ushers for all the shows. Right. It's amazing that for each person who's on stage, there's usually at least one person backstage during a show. But then there's all these people who are working in advance. So I think we counted up one time, it took like 70 people to put on one show, just because there's so many people who help build the sets and sell the tickets and they work to usher and all those things. It's just amazing how many people. And that's one of the great things. The community theater is just so much an important part of it. Yeah. And then we have
what you see on stage. What you see on stage is like the tip of the iceberg for sure.
Exactly. It's a very pretty and wonderful tip, but there's a big iceberg underneath there holding those people up there. Yeah. We actually have a volunteer coordinator who's someone, if someone were to contact the theater, send an email or, push one of the buttons on our website and say they want to volunteer, she will call you up and, take them for a tour of the theater and plug them in wherever they want to work. Awesome. So we're always looking for new people.
Great.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Yeah, I'll make sure that we have links to the website and all those things in the description, and that'll be in the blog as well, so people can find you guys really easy after this.
Great. Awesome. Yeah.
So kind of wrapping it up, is there anything else that I missed that you might have wanted to mention?
Right now we have a historical display in the lobby because we want to highlight those 100 years. So we have one person who's been, I think she's going to change for every show, putting up old pictures, old shows. We actually, I think I think she's planning on highlighting couples who've met at our theater, because not so much now, but it used to be a place where people would come. A community theater was sort of much a part of that town. So you would come down and you would audition for a show. If you didn't get a part, then you would stay and you'd help work on the set and sew costumes or something like that. And so we had, I think, 3 different couples who met and got married at our theater back then. And, those couples are still around today. So, I remember talking to one who said, "Oh, well, yeah, they met somewhere else, but this is where they would come down and sort of." He says, "This was the cheapest date in town. You could just come down and work together on a set, and then it was just sort of just a great way to meet people and get involved." So I think that's an important thing. I think that's. We call ourselves Arlington Friends of the Drama, and we put a pretty strong emphasis on that word friends, because we really think it's a great place to meet friends and make friends, and they're friends that just, your theater friends are just different from your other friends, and they've all been through some little thing together that made the show special, and so I think it's just a great way to meet other people.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a great little hub for community and people that are new to town or trying to figure out meet new people and share those passions. That's really cool, the couples that I've met, because they obviously both like theater, and it's just a great way to spark That's amazing. Very cool, Ginger. Thank you for everything. I just kind of want to wrap it up here with this sort of final question that we always do. In your opinion, what is the best reason to come down to Arlington Friends of the Drama?
I think it would have to be that friendship piece. It's just a great place to make friends, get new skills, and do things you never thought you'd ever do before. And it's just a lot of fun.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Great. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and thank you so much, Ginger. You did a beautiful job telling the story here of the theater, and I'm sure a lot of people, if they've never heard of it, are definitely going to head on down to watch a show or get involved. And anybody who's watching, if you also want to feature with us, your organization or your theater, just send us an email and we'll get in touch. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kristen.